What's up, everybody? I'm Jonathan Sewell at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise, Alabama. I'll figure this out one day. I've got two boys in band. One of them is starting this year learning percussion. Maybe he'll teach me how to drum roll or something. I don't know. Maybe someday. But today's Mazda news update is actually a more of a CX-5 update or CX-50. No, I think it's actually a CX-5 update that we're talking about today. And we're going to jump into some things that have really kind of got me twisted up. I'm wrong. I'm wrong about the 2023 Mazda CX-5. As much as I look at this information, as much as my heart says one thing, I think the old noodle is saying something completely different, and I think that I am wrong about the 2023 Mazda CX-5. So we're going to jump in just a minute and compare some things going on at Mazda, Alabama. Also share some things from a Mazda representative that some of the wording that he chose, again, just twisted me up here, maybe here, and hurt my heart a little bit. However, we know it's Mazda. We know it's going to be good. It's just not exactly what I thought it was going to be. So we'll jump into that and more when we return. Stay tuned. We're talking 2023 Mazda CX-5, and it's a painful thing to admit that you're wrong. It hurts you in your pride. It hurts you in your heart. And my wife will tell you that I don't admit that I'm wrong that often. However, as new information has just been swirling around, as much as I don't want to be wrong ever, I think I am wrong in this case. So why am I wrong? It's really about recent information. It's kind of been bothering me as I've been thinking about a few things, especially as Toyota's kind of released their Toyota Corolla Cross, as I talked about a few weeks ago. I think it was at the beginning of June that they released that information. And so I'm kind of, it's not really a conspiracy that's happening, but I think that what I'm about to share with you is more of a conspiracy theory, because how these things are going to fit together aren't exactly fitting together and proving to be the item that I thought the CX-5 was going to be. So if you'll remember, a few weeks ago also, there was several spy shots released of what we thought was going to be the new CX-50 by the Fastlane.com. And here's a look at those just to remind you of what that looked like. I won't spend so much time on these pictures, but the full video is linked down in the description. And we spent some time going into these pictures and seeing how the front fascia, the front bumper was designed a little bit differently, how the fender flares are a little bit different, and how there's 20-inch wheels on this vehicle. However, we were thinking this is the CX-50, maybe the new inline six, maybe the rear-wheel drive. Of course, one viewer pointed out, and you can see on these photos as you look back, that the brake caliper on the front wheel there is up front. So that leads you and me to believe that it is a front-wheel drive vehicle. So we don't really have, from the person taking pictures outside of his window, we don't really have an item to scale this, to see. It does look a little bit larger. There are some things, of course, the 20-inch wheels would lead us to believe that it is larger than the current CX-5, because they've never offered a 20-inch wheel on it as far as from the factory. And these are a little bit designed, the wheels are a little bit like pizza wheels from the couple of years ago. So we're thinking, hey, this is the CX-5. And it could be the CX-5 in these pictures. It really could be. However, I'm thinking that the size difference, we were talking about, hey, the CX-5 is going to be smaller or smaller than the new large platform. And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago with the new large platform getting the inline six, the rear-wheel drive, and also availability of all-wheel drive. However, as I think more and more about this, I think we've already seen the CX-5. I think we've already seen the 2023 CX-5. And it's the Corolla Cross. Oh! as I think more and more about it, and this is where it pains me here, as I think more and more, I think that the Toyota assembled and built in America, in Alabama, is also going to be the Mazda built in America, built in Alabama. So the Corolla Cross, it does kind of pain me a little bit. It does kind of make me want to say, why, Mazda? But of course, before we even know what's coming, let me tell you why I think this is the case. So here's a graphic of a spreadsheet, or that I typed up just some specific measurements here of both the Mazda line of crossovers and the Toyota line of crossovers. And so I'll just cover those with you real quick. Of course, we know the CX-3 is no longer in America. They say just for 2021, but I don't expect it to come back anytime soon. Of course, if it does, I think they'll have to redesign it, which will mean in America it'll be bigger. However, the CHR is kind of that CX-3 and CX-30 size, but you can see a drastic difference there in the CX-3 with 168 length, 70 inches, these are all inches by the way, 70 in width and 61 inches high. The CX-30, of course, we know is a little bit bigger on that new platform, 173 by 71 by 62. Comparing that over to the CHR, it's 173 by 71, very similar there, by 62. And then as you look at the new CX, question mark, I'm assuming it's going to be the exact same dimensions as the Corolla Cross, which is 176 by 72 by 65. Now compare this directly to the CX-5 there. You're losing 3 inches in length, losing an inch in width, and the same height. So this would make sense in the situation that, hey, we want to distinguish this CX-50 to be bigger on a large platform than the CX-5. We want a noticeable difference. Now, as we continue down this list, we'll jump back to that graphic. The RAV4 in comparison, of course, is longer by 3 inches. And this is why we have a little bit more cargo space. Same height, or excuse me, same width, but a taller vehicle. Ergo, the more cargo space in the rear, so 4 inches higher. Then, of course, they introduced last year the Venza, which was 187 inches, 73 inches wide by 66 inches tall. So you can see that it kind of fills that gap a little bit, and a little bit longer, a little bit bigger. And then when you look at the CX-9 versus the Highlander, they're pretty similar, although they look drastically different. And it's actually weird looking at these dimensions, because obviously the CX-5 has not apportioned the inside of this vehicle to have more space behind the third row seat like the Highlander has. So it's kind of interesting when you look at those specs. However, it only makes sense when we're talking about a new Toyota vehicle being assembled in Mazda, Alabama, or Mazda Toyota Manufacturing of Alabama, as it's officially named. It only makes sense that you would have one vehicle on one line, production line, match the same on the other line. As we look at those specs, as we look at the past of how Toyota and Mazda, how they partnered up, you look at the Mazda 2 and the Yaris, they're kind of the one who started making those. It's made that way, except for maybe some badges or maybe some bumpers. So is this Corolla Cross going to be just rebadged, rebumpered to a Mazda? I don't know if that's the case, and I hope not. We know with pricing that the large platform is going to be more money, and that this Corolla Cross, as it's equipped, as you look at that picture, it's kind of plain looking, as some Toyotas are, and with the materials they use on the inside and just their styling on the outside, it starts at $24,000. So as we look at a CX-5, maybe you add $1,000 for destination, and that's $25,000. It's right around the same price as the CX-5 Sport. So this could really be the new CX-5 version of a Toyota CX-5. So let's talk about Mazda Alabama for a minute. as we, before we dive into the shared components here as much, Mazda Alabama has committed or said that they, at max capacity, will build 300,000 units. They've got 2 production lines, one Apollo for Toyota and one Discovery for Mazda. And the Apollo, of course, is building or assembling the Corolla Cross. And so when you're talking about 150,000 units, that's a lot. And that's usually around the same numbers of what we sell in Mazda North America as CX-5 sell. So we're somewhere usually around 250 to 300 total. 150 of those, or 50%, are usually CX-5s. Now the CX-30 is doing really well also. So as we look at this commitment of Mazda for 150,000 units, it almost makes sense that it's going to be the CX-5. So when we look at those shared components, the Corolla Cross has a 2-liter engine. Don't expect Mazda to go from a CX-30 with a 2.5 Skyactiv G to a 2-liter. It's very possible that Mazda would bring in their own powertrain for this, and for 2023 you'd have a 2.5 with a 6-speed, because the Corolla Cross has a CVT, which I don't think Mazda would participate in a CVT unless it was necessary for hybrid or plug-in controls. However, that's the facts we have. And as you look at this video that was shared by some local news channels from the Corolla Cross event, you can see that maybe this vehicle is a little bit bigger than we think, just how it's positioned. And then as you look at the inside, you see Toyota's infotainment, which is a touchscreen. Still has a floating screen, different size. Is it going to be a touchscreen? Is it going to share that infotainment? Are we going to have a Mazda CX-5 without a commander control knob? I don't know. I don't expect that. Of course, that Yaris sedan was all Mazda. It had the same infotainment, same, it had Mazda's 2-liter in it. So I don't know. It's hard to say. And this could be a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but like I said, it's twisting me up, and I'm leaning more and more to the fact that I was wrong, and I don't see a larger platform, CX-70 or CX-50, whatever they're going to call this thing. I don't see that coming from Alabama. So in our region, they've combined several states. I think we go all the way to New Mexico now, and all the way down to Florida and up to North and South Carolina. And they invited the Mazda reps to their headquarters, which I believe is in Houston, to see the new crossover, the new CX-5. And so I heard from a Mazda rep, he did not see this in person, so it's third party or third hand, but there is going to be a new grille. So even from the spy shots, I expected it to be that Mazda MX-30, kind of that squattier grille with a big beefy bumper there instead of the signature wing that we're accustomed to. So that could be. However, that could be very similar to the Corolla Cross bumper grille design also, except how theirs comes down. Maybe ours is going to flip over and come up and hover under the grille, and the surround hover under the headlights like we're accustomed to. Also, the other word that was shared by other reps, and it was a very, very tight-knit, very closed presentation or reveal. I think it was only like an hour, so they wanted all these reps to fly in just for an hour to see that, and then there was nothing else, they could go home. And but the other word that surfaced from this reveal is rugged. So I think if you compare the two, the new CX-5 to the Corolla Cross, you can definitely see how rugged the Corolla Cross would be compared to the CX-5. Even if you compare RAV4 to the CX-5, it looks a little rugged also, or more rugged, I should say. So as we don't know, this is all kind of speculation, but I think as we get closer, we'll know, because what's next? What's next is more information from Mazda, hopefully, but we know that the information and the reveal is coming at the LA Auto Show in October. So we're going to have more information lead to this. Looking at this, I think that Mazda Alabama is going to be producing a similar size vehicle, 150,000 units of the new CX-5 Are we still going to see a CX-50 or CX-70? Absolutely. That's not going to be released as early as we thought, although my video from several weeks ago said that, hey, we're going to see it sooner than we thought because they're going to bypass the Mazda 6 or the sedan that's coming from this large platform. And also, I believe a new CX-9 is going to be coming in 2023. I don't think it will be a 23 model, but I think this 23 CX-50, CX-70 will be released in 22 next year, and then in 23 as a 24 model we'll have a CX-9. So there's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of information coming over the next couple of years. The biggest thing I'm focused on right now is what is Mazda Alabama going to build, and we'll know that without a doubt in October. Between now and then, there's just speculation. Whether you're looking at charts of length, width, height, like I made here, or just other information that we keep having. I don't have it. I wish I could have gone to Texas and seen that. But of course, they wouldn't let me tell anybody, so that would have been hard for me too. One last comment to make as we move forward. I think that in 2021, sales of 2021 of Mazda is going to exceed 400,000 units. So thank you to all of you who have purchased Mazdas this year. Thank you for all of you Mazda passionate fans that are continually spreading the word of Mazda. And 400,000 is really big. We haven't seen that in a few years. That means that CX-30 and CX-5, depending on how production continues towards the end, probably going to pick back up a little bit more in the fourth quarter, but they're probably still half of those sales. So great job. Thank you for your support. And can you imagine 150,000 units from Mazda Alabama? Maybe half of that next year, maybe all of that in 23. 550,000. That's a big number. That's a lot of Mazdas. Thank you for your support. That's all I've got for you. I really can't wait to see you in your new Mazda, and I really can't wait to see you on the boulevard. I know it's almost end of vacation time. We're coming to the end of July, but still, if you're coming down to the beach or any reason, stop by. We'll get a cup of coffee and talk it out and conspire together on some of these theories and some of these things. Or, as always, comment below what you think. Is the new CX-5 going to be the Corolla Cross or somewhat of a twin? Same size. Is it going to be all Mazda? Is it going to be bigger? Share down below what you think. You can always call or text me at 334-718-0504. And I'll see you on the next one.